they're not used to anybody telling them you're wrong. And so they just say things, and conservatives, because conservatives, like, they just, it's all confidence to them. If you say something confidently that resonates with them, they're like, yep, that makes sense. Therefore, it is true. CNN is struggling, and CNN is having a very difficult time doing something particular, and that is keeping up with every goddamn lie this president tells. I almost forgot about like the pace of lies that Donald Trump is able to keep up with, and he's accelerated it. And here's CNN with Trump's 13 biggest lies of his first month back in office. 13 biggest, like the biggest. You can talk about like biased fact checkers all you want. Go back, find me Fox News it's saying like, here are 13 lies that Joe Biden told in December. I don't think you'll find it. You cannot find this level of reporting on Fox News, mostly because Donald Trump is the first guy to ever lie about everything. Just every single thing. He's like, we're lying. It's what we're doing. And Mog is like, yeah, let's go for it.
And Chief Daniel Dale is with us. And Daniel, on CNN.com, you list what you call the 13 biggest lies of the first month. We can't do all 13, but what are some of the ones that jump out at you?
John, there were so many lies from the President of the United States in his first month that I had a hard time making that list of 13, which I think is bananas if you take a second to think about it. I did make a list, though, and I had it done. It was edited, and then the President dropped in probably the biggest lie of the whole month. You've been talking about it on your show this morning. Listen to what he said about the war in Ukraine.
I think I have the power to end this war, and I think it's going very well. But today I heard, we weren't invited. Well, you've been there for 3 years. You should have ended it 3 years. You should have never started it. You could have made a deal.
Russia started the war in Ukraine. This is obvious. It barely needs a fact check. I think the brazenness of this claim, John, is an example of a president's willingness to lie about even obvious stuff. Some of the lies on my list are about complicated policy subjects like tariffs, but he's also lying about things we witnessed with our own eyes. I'll give you another representative example. It's an example of the president's years-old habit, something I call Trumpflation, and that is making his inaccurate stories more and more inaccurate over time. So listen to how the saga of the imaginary Gaza condoms evolved over the course of about a week.
DOJ and OMB also found that there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that went out the door to fund condoms in Gaza.
We identified and stopped $50 million being sent to Gaza to buy condoms for Hamas. 50 million. And you know what's happened to them? They've used them as a method of making bombs. $50 million plus another $50 million for condoms for Hamas. You know about that? $100 million for condoms.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So we went from $50 million in condoms for Gaza to $50 million in condoms for Hamas to make bombs to $100 million in condoms for Hamas. None of this was true. The White House had no evidence whatsoever of any condom purchases for Gaza or for Hamas. So this was quite a tale. I'll give you a third example on my list. The president has been repeatedly deceptive about the subject of birthright citizenship, the constitutional right he's trying to end. And he keeps saying that the U.S. is the only country in the world that offers birthright citizenship. In fact, that's not even close to true. There are dozens of countries that also grant automatic citizenship to people born on their soil, and you don't have to look far. The list includes Canada and Mexico. Now, you might say the president might be confused about...
I'd like to be born again, potentially in Mexico. Every day is getting closer and closer to we're going to go to Mexico. It's getting a lot closer. Except for now I got to worry about like Trump sending private armies to Mexico.
About this, well, he's been making this same false claim, telling the same lie since at least 2018. We've been fact-checking this for more than 6 years.
Repeating lies does not make them more true. Daniel Dale with the facts this morning. Great to see you. Thank you very much for this hard work.
If you want to go, we can go to CNN 13 biggest lies. Here are the biggest lies from month one. The tale of the 50 million, no, make it 100 million in condoms for Hamas. We covered that one. Blaming Ukraine for starting the war. Certainly they didn't. The non-uniqueness of birthright citizenship, obviously. More up is down, reversing of the reality of January 6th. For years now, Trump has presented a version of the Capitol riot on January 6th that bears little resemblance to what actually happened. When he was asked in early February why he granted pardons to people who assaulted first responders. He said the people he pardoned were actually assaulted by our government and that they didn't assault. This "they didn't assault" claim was a brazen denial of the obvious truth, clear in fucking every video that anybody has ever put up, ever. The gusher of deceit about California water policy. Obviously, Trump doesn't know. He still doesn't know that water doesn't just run like north to south. Like north isn't just up and south isn't just down, and the water just goes down. He didn't realize that it goes westward out into the ocean at times as well. He turned on the water in the Central Valley for no reason. Lost billions of gallons of water that we'll probably never be able to. I mean, we're not going to make that up. So now farmers are like, now we've got even less water. He keeps talking about the 2020 election like he won it. He won't let that go. He's talking about Olympic trans boxers again, which wasn't true. That the boxer was not a trans woman. That was a woman, biologically a woman, however you want to phrase it. That was not a transgender woman. The fictionalized northern border. Trump casually asserted that the Canadian people like his idea of Canada becoming the 51st state. It's a very unpopular idea, so much so that Pierre Poilievre is like, nah, we're not doing this. Like even the far right of Canada doesn't want this. It blasted Biden for the frantic last minute Biden push to hire people with significant disabilities as air traffic controllers. That's not true. He explained that there's an FAA pilot program that started during his administration in 2019. So the pilot program he's talking about, he started. Biden just kept it alive. Keeps lying about tariffs. This is the one I'll never... Like January 6th, obvious. But the thing about Trump and the Trump people is when they are caught in a lie or they're caught in an untruth, they've just decided that they're going to pretend it's true. That, like the tariff one, blows my mind every single day. Tariffs are paid by consumers. Tariffs are paid by the companies. 70 to 80% of MAGA still believes that if you put tariffs on a country that they pay it. Patrick Bet-David literally, though, just said, like, hey, if these countries are going to charge us tariffs, we're going to get rid of income tax and we're going to charge tariffs and they're going to pay the income tax. And now nobody pays any taxes. He just doesn't get it. They still do not understand. And Trump is putting in loyalist rich guys. I'm trying to figure out like the best way to phrase this, but I was talking to a friend this weekend about just like confidence and the confidence in which certain people say things. And specifically, we were talking about like conservative content creators. There's the one that Dean debated her. She's the one that said like slavery, like basically, yeah, if states want to have slavery, states can have slavery. I don't remember her name. I know she's with the Nelk boys. I don't know if it's a girlfriend or it might be one of their sisters. I can't remember. But I was talking about how like rich people and pretty people or people who society views as pretty, like they have no idea if they're dumb. They don't know because nobody ever tells rich people and pretty people that they're wrong. They just let them get away with it. And what we're seeing in this administration is rich people and pretty people, right? Trump rolls out Kristi Noem. Why? Because he thinks Kristi Noem looks good. Does she have a clue in hell what she's doing? Absolutely not. But is she confident in saying things that are incorrect constantly? Yes, all the time. Patrick Bet-David, Mr. Wonderful, Elon Musk, all of these, Peter Thiel, everybody that they trot out, they're not used to anybody telling them you're wrong. And so they just say things, and conservatives, because conservatives, like it's all confidence to them. If you say something confidently that resonates with them, they're like, yep, that makes sense. Therefore it is true. I'm trying to figure out a way to like position this, but like Trump does understand like visuals, and he understands that confidence and perceived beauty matter. And so that's who he trots out. And that's why they're so successful about lying about obviously dumb things. I am saying that the cracks are starting to form. I'm seeing that. I hate to say it, but I saw House and Habit is all over Elon's ass this weekend. The cracks are starting to form everywhere.